be honest, I think that a lot of the time they don't seem to like you.
There's a lot of hard work and it's blood, sweat and tears. I don't know, if I suddenly get a guitar out, is it believable?
23.
Well, that's really shit.
This is You're Welcome America presents Totally Scott Lee, episode 4. I'm Ben.
I'm Fraser.
Fraser like razor.
And for the next 4 weeks, we're recapping and reliving the MTV UK classic reality show, Totally Scott Lee. And you can watch along with us because the episodes are still on YouTube.
Still, thank goodness. Okay, once again, for the uninitiated, we need to tell you what the show is. Totally Scott Lee follows Lisa Scott Lee from pop supergroup Steps as she tries to forge a solo career. Along for the ride with her family, the other Scott Lees, manager Nath, and of course, Michelle Heaton. What happened in episode 4, Fraser? Quick overview, please.
Well, episode 4 was really the engagement heard around the world, or just heard around kind of one little segment of the UK, and Michelle Heaton's birthday party.
Oh, it's all go. Let's do it.
So it's a story of a family. It's a game of make or break, 'cause they all know how to get dropped. Lovely Lisa's got that solo, she's already been dropped. Husband Charlie's understanding 'cause he took off the job. Was left it to a brother Henry, he was dropped, but now he's hanging by a thread. At least he has Michelle, she's still his top of the pops, with Nathan managing behind his brother beyond. It's a nasty game of fame and it don't come for free. No, not when you're totally Scott Lee.
Okay, I have a bit of news before we properly get into it.
Okay.
Sexy Nath has liked our tweet.
Wow.
So I tweeted at him saying, "Hey Nathan, we're enjoying you as we rewatch Totally Scott Lee in our podcast. You've even earned a nickname, Sexy Nath," and he's liked it.
Oh, wow.
Big news. Shall I reply and try and ask him if he wants to come on the show? Okay, let's just do it right now.
Yeah.
Just doing it live over to the Twitter
Hub.
the Twit Hub. Fancy coming on the show to discuss Totally Scott Lee?
And we'll cut this if he doesn't answer.
Will we?
No, probably not.
That's officially been sent from the Twitter corner of the Your Welcome America studio.
Lovely.
If you want to tweet us, do give us a shout. Our handle is Your Welcome USA. I think we're up to 32 followers now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're really building that brand. Oh, sorry, 34.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and of course, do give us a shout on Instagram as well. You're Welcome America. You will also be getting regular You're Welcome America episodes every other week. We've got a nice one up at the moment, haven't we?
We do. Pixie Lot and Salt Lake City.
I mean, 2 peas in a pod.
And good luck getting the song Kiss the Stars out of your head after listening to our latest episode.
Because we haven't. Right.
Okay. I mean, I accidentally saw the beginning of your notes and just saw that the first scene is Lisa and Andy on the blower.
Scene number 1. Now, this is a scene. It's not a scenelet. I think this is a scene.
Yeah.
So, Lisa and Andy, hot off the news that... Well, not really the news. Hot off the event that Andy's proposed to Michelle and Marbs. Lisa gets in the phone. She gets in the blower and wants to, speak all about it because Andy and Michelle are trying to keep their engagement secret because they've got a deal with OK Magazine.
Yes. And the bone of contention seems to be that... Well, it's that they didn't tell the family before they told... But I think it's something like it seems to have got to management and, agents and something, and they knew, and then there was no Scott Lee official, champagne sit-down that Lisa wants. That seems to be what she's pissed off about.
But I think it's also the fact that they're sitting there being filmed, and Lisa knows that the people filming them, the crew, the producers, they all know everything about the engagement, but she doesn't.
So yeah, she's the most sour Sally that we've seen her so far, I think, in this series, in this scene. Mm-hmm. I really, this is her most sour, I think. So she's, my first note is, I had my own mini kind of mystery within this scene, which I solved by the end of it, which was, my first note was, who's that gay in the kitchen? And then I was like, oh, it's her brother.
That's her brother
and his girlfriend. So I went on a real journey with that one. I was like, oh, he's attractive, this gay man in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, that's his girlfriend. It's her brother. I got there in the end.
Got it. But the journey I went on was, are they using landlines? So with Andy and Lisa here, are they both on their landlines in their houses? But then towards the end of the scene, I heard that galloping horses, that kind of galloping horses interference you get with like a mobile phone and a camera.
Galloping. You call that galloping horses?
I always did.
That's really strange. So she says the immortal line, "Don't you feel like your family should come before a deal with OK Magazine?"
Oh,
really cutting.
Now, how do you feel about this situation? Because I'm in a few different minds about it. Many minds. Andy probably doesn't have a lot of money.
Right.
And he's just signed his record deal. I'm guessing the proposal pics and exclusive to OK Magazine was probably, I'm being generous. No, I think this is fair. I think it was probably worth £50,000.
Yeah, because Michelle was a hot property at the time.
Was big.
Yeah.
So I think he needs that money. Good for him. And that's how I feel.
So I think that Lisa has a point.
Yes.
But because she's so dour and mean in this scene, she loses any sympathy that I had for her original point. Because basically she's just, you can tell in this scene that she's been really spoiling for this fight. So like he basically says sorry and doesn't really he doesn't fight her at all, but she keeps trying to start a fight with him, and I feel like she does the most passive aggressive congratulations. Well, but yeah, congratulations, but I just feel like the family should know, but obviously congratulations, but I'm really pissed off with you.
Say congrats to Michelle, but obviously the thing is, at the end of the day, I just think.
Oh, I would have hung up on her if I was him. Her tone of voice was really making my blood boil.
She's interesting because she says, "I think you should have spoken to me and especially Mum and Dad." Now, is Lisa the matriarch of the family?
I think so. Well, see, I think that she's like Jan's mouthpiece.
Oh,
because
Mum Jan's mouthpiece.
Yes, because he says that later on. I mean, this is a spoiler for later on, but Andy says to Michelle, the only people that have said congratulations are Dad and then someone whose name I couldn't quite catch.
Yeah.
So pointedly there, Jan was not someone that's congratulated him. So I can imagine. Speaking of getting on the blower, I bet Jan got straight on the blower and the two of them talked in that
to Lisa.
So
Jan got on the blower to Lisa. They had that little chin wag.
They both were got really, really angry about it. Then they set up this scene and then she got on the blower with Andy and spoke for herself and for Jan. That's my theory.
Now, I think a real supporting player in this scene is the mug that Lisa is drinking from.
Oh, the princess mug.
Just says princess, and she's cradling a mug of lukewarm tea, I'm assuming. Milky tea, maybe with a sugar in it.
Well, at one point she starts crying and then takes a sip from her mug of tea while she's crying, and I was like, it's very strange to sip a beverage while you're crying. It's quite it's a lot of things to deal with in one go,
So then at the end of the scene, Lisa hangs up, Andy hangs up, and then Andy calls Michelle and is explaining to Michelle what's going on, and was like, I got a bollocking.
Yeah, I mean,
just spoke to Lisa, I got a bollocking. And then Lisa's talking to Aunt and the girlfriend in the kitchen saying, I'm sorry, but I just think, and she says some great things like, our motto is family come first. He's forgotten that. It'll take us a while to get back to where we were.
She's such an idiot. I was not on her side at all. I wrote down the note, who knew an engagement could make people so unhappy?
Well, someone a little later basically says that.
Yeah.
And also, you referenced to earlier, Lisa saying, I feel sorry for them. We could have all been sat around now having champagne.
I know, and I wrote in all caps, you still could be if you weren't so miserable, is what I wrote. I was like, you could just say, I'm annoyed with you, and then you could wrap it up, have everyone over for champagne, and basically just stop moaning about it, and everything would be fine.
No, what she should, but the magazine's not out yet, so they can't really do that. So I think what she should have done is said, look, Andy, I'm a bit pissed off, so is the family, but here's the thing, I get it. You need that money. So when's the magazine out? Next Thursday. Next Thursday, you're going to be coming around here.
Yeah.
We're all going to, as a family, sit down and have champagne, and we'll properly celebrate it. Let's just leave it until then.
Yeah. But she can't leave it. She literally cannot stop talking about it. There's also, did you notice just the decor of Andy and Michelle's flat? There was 2 teddy bears just shoved behind the sofa, really wedged behind there. There's a lamp with a stray cord just floating off into the ether and just stuff. Their whole flat is just filled with stuff, isn't it? You can tell they just come in and just dump stuff down and just move on.
Now, I don't want to reveal too much because this is very much for another episode when we deal properly with Come Dine With Me. But I have filmed in Michelle and Andy's house when they were still together.
Right.
And one thing was they had this, so we're looking around the house, looking for areas to film. There was one room which was off limits. And of course I looked in it. It was just opened it. You couldn't open the door. It was just full of stuff. It's like if they'd been on vacation 27 times and dumped their bags in there and half unpacked and then hadn't packed. So this all adds up.
They've got that kind of tendency. There's a couple of just little points during this scene that I noted. Did you notice the decorative radiator cover? It was through the glass door behind Lisa, but they have one of those like a wooden radiator cover where it's like kind of latticed, and it means you've got another place to put more
a candle,
more
a photo
candles,
frame,
exactly, more objet for the house. My favorite part was when he was getting off the phone with Lisa and Andy said that Michelle was pregnant, and Lisa goes, right. It's not the time for jokes, and I was like, do you know what? That was funny.
That was funny.
That was a very funny joke.
Sorry, we missed that. Just before ending the call with Lisa, Andy says that. Yeah, one more thing to tell you. Michelle's pregnant. Just kidding.
It's like, I was like, do you know what, Andy? That was a solid joke, and I think it was very funny. And you could see Lisa, she like kind of laughs, and then she's just like, oh, it's not really the time for jokes now, is it?
It's also interesting in this scene with Lisa, brother aunt, and aunt's girlfriend, they're all kind of dressed the same. They're all wearing jeans and vest tops. And when the three of them go to hug, I'm like, oh, you're all sort of interesting.
I definitely am attracted to Ant. He's the one that this is the second time now in this show that I've written down who's that sexy man, and I can't seem to commit his name or the fact that he's her brother to my memory, but I know that I find him attractive. He's very like 2000 and something attractive, isn't he?
But he is an attractive man. I bet he's still attractive now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? However he styled himself in 2020, I bet he's still attractive. In fact, I might put it out there. I think he's the most attractive Scott Lee.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Is he the one who was driving her from the jewelry shop
opening? Yeah,
got it. This scene in general ends in a great way as well. Michelle and Andy. Well, Andy gets off the phone from Michelle, and he snaps his phone closed. Yeah. Ugh. And he just says, "She's crying her eyes out."
Andy does a lot of looking directly down the barrel of the camera in this scene, and I actually agree with him. He's basically being like, oh my God, everyone I'm dealing with is insane. And I was like, yeah, I agree with him. He's a little sap of a man stuck in a vortex of very powerful women.
Is he also wearing a beanie hat?
He is. He's wearing an indoor beanie.
He loves a beanie. Loves a beanie.
He hasn't had his time to get the dolphin's beak to that hair. So you got to chuck a beanie on.
Oh, this is it. He's been
bung a beanie on.
Bung a beanie on. The next scene, I think, is a scenelet. What have you called this?
Yeah, I called this scenelet Nathan pretending to use the phone.
Oh, I called it Nathan phone bashing.
Because this is really just a lot of hard edited fast cut scene of Nathan basically trying to find a song for Lisa. Mm-hmm. I don't know who he's calling. Who'd you call for a song?
Well, it's very much like they could have. I don't think they did, but they could have shot this like at the very end of editing all the episodes. Like, oh, we need a scene of Nathan phone bashing. Yeah. So like Nathan, just go, and he'd pick up a phone, improvise, and say, "Johnny, it's Nath here. Hey, big man, got a song."
Why don't you just root around in that hit drawer and see if you've got any hits for us?
Yeah. Got a hit?
And then I love that they edited him saying about looking in the hit drawer, and then they just showed him genuinely rooting around his own drawers for like loose CDs. I was like, what? You just got CDs of unsigned songs just lying around your office? At one point he's like leafing through like a sleeve, isn't he?
One of those giant zipped up like books where you can have your sleeves of endless CDs.
I thought I was the absolute shit when I went to university. I transferred all my CDs from their cases into one of those things, so that I was like, and then I can just like sit on my bed and just like flip through my different CDs that I can play in my room at uni.
Oh, that's good. I think I still have from uni a giant CD book where I've burned all the pictures and videos from every term onto CDs, and so it'll be like year 1, term 3, and that'll be like a whole disc. Where I'm going to play those discs.
Yeah, what device?
Do not know. But they're all organized in that beautiful zipped up sleeve of discs.
I did it to my DVDs as well. I remember it was just all Sex and the City. I just remember having to divide each disc of Sex and the City in there.
Now, this next scene, what are you calling it?
I called it In the Car with Michelle's Frappuccino.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I've called this Mich and Andy in the car / Lisa and Johnny having tapas, because they flick between these two scenes.
Yeah. So my first note really was that Michelle's hair looks very crispy in this scene. It looked very dry and crispy. Did you notice that?
I didn't.
It looked like it was hard to the touch. Like if you were to scrunch it with your hand, it would have made like a crunchy noise, like a paper bag.
Do you know what she should have done? Should have worn a beanie.
She should have worn a beanie.
Should have just bunged on a beanie.
So they're basically sitting in the car, kind of. A lot of this is just still the fallout. It's the fallout of the fallout. So they're talking about Lisa's reaction.
Well, this scene starts with Andy saying, referring back to Lisa Convo, well, I think it went well yesterday. It's like, Andy, it didn't go well. What are you talking about?
He's just trying to have some positivity. I feel like he's always just trying to like have a nice time, and everyone's dragging him down. And Michelle makes a very good point, and I'm on her side, where she's kind of just saying like, basically the whole point is that yes, the family, it would be nice to tell the family, but it's actually not about the family, it's actually about them, and that now that their whole engagement has become about Lisa being upset is not really the point. You know, she said Lisa was just thinking of herself, and I was like, well, you've hit the nail on the head there, Michelle.
She thinks everyone should be happy, and Lisa should stop thinking of just herself. It's not about her. And she's not wrong.
No.
Michelle's not wrong. But wait. Going back, what is Michelle's Starbucks order? Right. Because we can see a real supporting player in the scene is her Frappuccino cup in the background.
I think it, from what I could tell from it's like half drunk, so we're looking at kind of residue and what's left in it. To me, it looks like maybe like a mocha chip. So like a coffee, chocolate, cream and little chocolate bits. So it's like a mocha with cream and little chocolate kind of flakes. And I think that's called like a mocha chip Frappuccino. I
feel like she would definitely like a caramel. I think this was pre-salted caramel days, but I feel like she would like a caramel drizzle in there.
I think it's like a caramel macchiato Frappuccino.
Something like that. But she probably orders a big one, but then only ever, has like 4 sips.
Yeah.
And then it's just left to curdle in that little drinks holder in his Ford Clio or whatever it is. I don't know.
Did you ever have like, what was in like the Frappuccino the early days? Did you ever have them, or what was your kind of thing?
I did, but I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
So I would just have something chocolatey, and then I moved on quite quickly, and I got really obsessed with the mango citrus juice ones, which were so great in the summer.
Mango, what was it? Mango passion fruit. Is that what it was?
J2O.
Oh my god, J2Os.
J2Os were gross.
They were so, like, I used to work in a pub, and when people ordered J2Os, I was just like, you could just have orange juice. Like, have an actual, even the orange juice, like the Brit Vic orange juice was like better quality than a J2O. They're really horrible.
But do you remember being like working in a pub, and they would have like a cocktail menu, and it would be like, I don't know, it would be some name of a cocktail, and it would consist of like opening up 4 different J2Os and like pouring them all into like a bucket. And then, do you remember that?
Yeah, that's I think in Wetherspoons there was definitely some kind of
J2O branded cocktail mixology going on.
I tell you what it tastes like. I worked it out. It tasted like a Solero, like a melted Solero.
Oh, but I didn't like the cream of a Solero.
Yeah, you just like the
I was always more of a Calippo. You know what I mean?
Oh, I loved a Solero. Anyway, taking us back. So I feel like the first time they cut away in this is a very strange shot, because it's an extreme close-up of Lisa. So all you can see is like that she's wearing a ruffled shouldered top, and that, so you have no idea where she is, and it sounds like she's in like a canteen. A lot of Foley work. Yeah, and then so I was like, okay, so I heard that, and I was like, okay, so she's somewhere eating, and then just in this very tight shot, just this giant goblet of white wine just comes into frame, and she just gulps it all, and she's obviously, so you don't even know who she's with, but then eventually when we do cut back, you see her and Johnny are having tapas, maybe. I couldn't see what was in the bowls. The
square bowls.
Yeah, those big chunky square bowls. I felt like the quality of the YouTube video I was watching, I couldn't get into exactly what was in the bowls. To me, it also looked like it could have been like a roast, but like they were bringing out
like a funky roast.
Like a funky roast where they put all like the vegetables in, like almost like you had to serve yourself bits.
You had to like construct like a deconstructed roast. You had to like piece together.
Exactly, and it's all just heavy, big, square, chunky plates, and just having to constantly transfer things over.
A tapas roast.
Yes, exactly. A roast tapas.
God. A roast tapas. That is something that would actually do very well in the UK. Okay, so yeah, so it turns out Lisa and Johnny are having their tapas roast, and they're just clunking away with the glasses of wine. And Johnny says that, you know, and Andy said in the past that it's going to be the longest engagement in history. He plans for it to be the longest engagement in history. And then Lisa's like, oh, I don't think Michelle wants to hear that. And then Johnny's like, I mean, why get engaged? It's just to keep her happy. And then Lisa just says, I'd want to keep her happy. Yeah. Referring to Michelle.
Yeah, I feel like this episode's where you're really starting to see the cracks of, like, Lisa's obviously been trying this whole time to not show that she hates Michelle because of being on camera, but I think this whole engagement thing has really pushed her to start being a bit more honest about it.
I don't think she hates Michelle.
No, that's strong. That was hyperbolic.
That was very hyperbolic. It's more like she's just, she's I don't know what to say. She's unsure of Michelle. She and Michelle operate very differently.
Yes, it's true.
If Lisa were in Michelle's situation, she'd do something completely different. And if Michelle were in Lisa's situation, she would do something completely... They're just very different people.
Yeah, it's true. It's just so funny that all of this is about OK Magazine.
Oh, but that's what makes it amazing. Okay, question for you. What would you... If you had been in Andy Michelle's position, how would you have handled this? What would you have done? If it was you and your family?
Oh, well... If someone had called me to spoiling for a fight like Lisa had been, I literally would have said, this is not about you, fuck off, and I would have hung up the phone. That's how me and my family deal with each other. Okay. There's no, like, we don't do that kind of... There's a lot... She's doing a lot of that, like, oh, I'm not being funny, but, like, oh, yeah, I understand that passive-aggressive. We don't do that. We are openly, like, I'm calling you because I'm really angry with you, and the response would be, well, you could fuck off because it's none of your business, and then it would be over.
Okay. I think with my family, I would have given them a heads up and saying, hey, just so you know, I've got something very exciting to tell you, but I cannot tell you about it until next Thursday.
Yeah.
So let's come over that day, we'll tell you all about it.
Well, I think the problem is that because Andy is a little bit... This is a strong description, but he's a bit of a sniveling little kind of weasel, isn't he? So I feel like he just instead of getting ahead of it and thinking how to deal with it, he just let it kind of happen.
Yeah.
And you know, let people find out and let people tell the family, and because he's just a bit of an idiot as well. So
he's like,
he just didn't think it through.
He's quite a basic 24-year-old straight guy, isn't he? So he's not gonna have thought about all these things.
Exactly. And I think that's also why their anger is so misguided and pointless, because it's just they're screaming into a void. It really doesn't matter.
In this scene as well, Michelle, I think it's interesting, Michelle, and you referenced it earlier when she says, yeah, the only person who's got excited is your dad, Tony.
Yeah, and then another mystery person whose name
Steve. I think it was Steve.
Is that the other brother?
Who knows? But Tony, I'm like, bless Tony. Of course Tony got excited. Tony gets excited at anything. But equally, if I had to keep this engagement a secret from the world, I would not have told Tony in advance. Tony would, you know...
Can't keep a secret, can he?
Can't keep a secret, Tone can't.
Oh, God, just imagine... And you can imagine him being really nice on the phone, and Jan's thin-lipped in the background, furious. Like, she's like, Tony, get off the phone. Put the phone down, Tony.
There's also this great moment in the scene where Michelle asks Andy, did anyone say, are you sure you want to do this?
Oh, yeah.
About their engagement.
And she says something very, very dark and threatening where she's like...
She says, I've written it down because it was so perfect.
I'll find out.
She says, and Andy's like, no one did. And she went, okay. Look at my eyes. You sure? Okay. And then she said, you'd tell me though, wouldn't you? Because I'd find out.
It's like, how would you find out? I get what she's saying. She thinks they might have said it on camera, so she's going to find out watching the show back. But I like the idea that she's just going to find everything.
She'd find out. And whilst this scene's going on, they're driving this car, and in the background, I can see a Clinton's cards.
That's nice and comforting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, she is going to know. I bet she's got some like spy cameras hidden behind that lattice radiator cover.
Wait a minute. House. Wait a minute, though. And also in Michelle's own house, those teddy bears shoved behind the sofa, their eyes are actually cameras.
She's got all the footage. So next we get to a scene that I've just called The Gals Get Ready.
Oh, I've just called it Getting Ready.
And that covers quite a lot of people, quite a lot of gals getting ready for something in this scene. So this scene is basically, we cut back and forward between Lisa getting ready with the Sarah Mandys and then Michelle and her cronies getting ready at her flat.
And what are they getting ready for?
They're getting ready for Michelle's birthday. Michelle's 29th birthday, whatever she's pretending to be good. So, you know, we open up with just more shots of white wine being poured into wine glasses, which I did not enjoy this morning. I was, you know, not feeling my finest when I watched this episode.
Yeah, Lisa and the Sarah Mandys I think they're at Lisa's house.
Yeah.
A lot of the walls are painted or wallpapered a yellow color, like a sort of like a yellow butter color.
Right.
And there's a lot of white furniture, and there's also a lot of pine.
Do you feel like the buzzword for that paint was Tuscan?
But like a
Or
pale
butter.
like a pale Tuscan, or what? Maybe like a lemon sorbet.
Okay, Tuscan lemon sorbet.
Tuscan lemon sorbet butter. Now, also in this scene, as they're getting ready, I've noticed there are two little bowls of snacks.
Oh, what was
Did
it?
you see this?
I couldn't. Again, the quality was so bad I couldn't see detail.
I paused it. It looks like, to my eyes, one bowl are chocolate minstrels.
Oh my god, I love minstrels.
A minstrel, and the other bowl could be fresh strawberries.
Oh. Now, just stopping for a second. Minstrels. Strangely offensive name for a chocolate.
Yes.
Very odd.
Now that we've said that.
Yeah, now I'm like, we'll like grab a bag of minstrels. That's a really problematic name for chocolate.
And
Why has no one ever talked about that?
And they're a chocolate. Maybe they have, but you know what? This isn't the podcast for it properly. And we will not be eating a minstrel from here on in. What
Yeah.
else is going on?
So I think what's happening here is they're looking at I think she's bought Michelle a top for her birthday. That's what's happening. And she's holding it up, and it's exactly the same top that Michelle was wearing in Marbs. In terms of style, it's that slit
same
down the
shape.
middle with a nice swoopy back, as you called it. And Lisa's saying, oh, she likes booby tops. Yeah, she likes booby tops. And then one of the Sarah Mandys, it really trails in the background, just kind of goes, you know, and you can wear that with jeans or a skirt. Oh yeah, thanks Sarah. Thanks SM, another great contribution.
But to be fair to Lisa, she's spot on with what she's bought for Michelle.
She bought her a good gift. I mean, does the gift make it to her? We're not entirely sure. But yeah, so they're kind of just sitting on Lisa's floor, looking at this booby top. And then we cut.
Although, wait a minute, one of the Sarah Mandys does say to Lisa, like, has really been, like, given a line on a piece of paper to say from the producer and asked, you know, so Lisa, have you seen Andy and Michelle since the phone call?
Since the phone call, yeah. I was like, oh, all right, Sarah, calm down.
And Lisa's like, no, we haven't. And the music as well, like, the background music, like, really fades out so you can hear this, and then it fades back up.
And then they cut to Michelle and her friends all crammed in together in front of her like mirrored wardrobe door doing their makeup, all furiously putting a lot of makeup on in that mirror. And they're just kind of chit-chatting about the night and like thinking they're going to have some fun. And they're basically asking, oh, is Lisa coming? And she's like, yeah, Lisa's coming. And then they're like, oh, what about Johnny? And then in the most perfect piece of dialogue ever, she's just still looking in the mirror and she's like, oh no, Johnny's still away doing that musical, you know, Starlight Express. And then one of her Sarah Mandys just perfectly goes, oh yeah, is that the roller skating one? Yeah. Just perfect. Neither of them look at each other or even looking in the mirror. They're just staring at themselves while they have this conversation.
Now, throughout this scene as well, we've been watching these old episodes on YouTube, and it still has like the old MTV graphics that come up on screen. Now, I got distracted through this getting ready scene.
Oh my god! I think it was the same. I have the same note because the graphic was earlier on. I forgot to mention it.
This one I screenshot, and it just comes up on screen. It says, "Fancy a trip to Fancy a trip to NYC to meet Helena Christensen, and also pocketing the new Sony Ericsson K750i camera phone." I was like, what?
Why was Helena Christensen promoting a Sony Ericsson phone in New York?
Because that's probably, I tell you what, she got paid more than 50 grand for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd happily go to New York and, you know, talk to Helena Christensen about a Sony Ericsson phone. That would be fun.
Would you remember when, maybe in 2010, maybe a little bit later, no, it was more like 2013, Alicia Keys was made the creative director of BlackBerry.
Oh, yes.
It's like very much like that kind of vibe,
Right.
I think.
Oh, I miss my BlackBerry.
Very
BBM.
solid.
I want to talk about some outfits.
Yes, please, and some styling in general. Talk me through what's going on.
So let's just start with, the first one, let's just start with Michelle. Michelle's looking at herself. She's kind of finished getting ready, and she's looking in the mirror, and she's kind of she's like, oh, what should I do with my hair? She's like, oh, should I put some of my pieces in, which made me laugh. But I wrote down, is she wearing a slip dress?
She is. She's wearing a bright orange and pink slip dress that's got a lace bright pink top. Her hair and makeup is exactly like Evil Ariel.
Yes.
As we've previously discussed.
Although I think it's actually Ursula in disguise. And I know she's just, because she's not Evil Ariel, is she? She's Ursula.
Well, she's Ursula in disguise as Ariel, who turns out she's evil. So
yeah, no,
I just like saying Evil Ariel. Because she does not look like Ursula. You know what I mean? So, okay, brunette Ariel, okay?
Things are working according to my ultimate desire. The witch was watching the mirror. That's my great impression of Scuttle the seagull.
Wait, who's Scuttle the seagull in the world of Dudley Scott Lee?
Oh, that's a great point.
Tony?
Tony is 100% Scuttle. He's just like kind of positive and fun and goofy and
some light relief.
Yeah, combing his hair with a fork in Lisa's kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's Michelle's look. Mm-hmm. Then Lisa and the Saramandis clatter down those pine stairs, and that's where we get a good look at that trio of outfits. And I want to go through them one by one.
Okay, well, Lisa is at the front. Of course she is.
Yeah, dressed like a Christmas ornament.
Slash kind of like she's about to do a musical number. She's wearing, I mean, it's been very popular throughout this series so far, what I would call a rah-rah skirt.
Yep.
Very short rah-rah skirt. She's probably got some lovely pants on underneath
Yep.
because it's going to flip up at some point.
Yep.
Might have like a statement over the bum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It says sexy and
Yeah.
diamante.
And it's the whole thing, it's so confusing.
It's very hard to describe.
Very hard to describe. So she's got like, okay, it's like tied round the neck.
A halter neck.
Halter neck. She's very exposed at the sides and back, and that's all connected to her rah-rah skirt. And the color scheme is white and
Turquoise.
a turquoise satin green kind of color.
Sequin.
Is it sequin?
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
See, I think it's how I described one of the purple Cadbury's dresses. All her outfits look like ice skating outfits that have had the kind of illusion netting removed from them.
Yes.
So if you put netting on that outfit so that there was no skin showing, it would be an ice dancing costume.
And she's done her hair again in a style we've talked about for this era, which is like a
quiff, pompadour,
yeah,
a poof.
At the front and then into a pony at the back.
And then one of the Saramandis is just wearing a kind of a short white dress. She's the one that sartorially gets away with the kind of the best look in this scenelet.
But again, it's like a kind of slouchy. It's a revealing dress, but it's slouchy.
Yes.
But then super short.
Yes. And then we get to Bozo the Clown Saramandi's outfit. What the fuck is she wearing?
Well, she's wearing a bright hot pink rah-rah skirt with, and the top is like luminous yellow.
Yeah, but from a distance, she genuinely looks like a clown.
They all look like, well, bar the white dress Saramandi, they all look like entertainers. Like they're about to put on like a
show at Butlins.
A show at Butlins, or like do it, like turn up at your door and do like a singing telegram or...
Well, I do think it is fitting, though, that Saramandi's dressed like a clown just because later on she reveals her true talent, which is comedy.
Now, there also is another moment here, just before they leave the house, Mich and friends, they do like a champagne toast. She's like, champagne! Champagne! And they all gather around.
It's a rosé. It's a pink champagne, isn't it?
It is. I think it's I think it's Dom.
Of course it is.
It's expensive.
Well, we know that Michelle likes only the finest champagne.
She loves Dom. But they all do a cheers, and it's in her living room that has like a very low ceiling with a very bright ceiling light that's in like a lantern shade. So they're all doing a cheers underneath this like IKEA lampshade that's all giving them like downlighting. It's perfect.
Now, speaking of beefy scenes,
this moves on to a new scene for me, and I've just called this Michelle's birthday bash.
Yeah, Michelle's birthday, absolutely. So we first know that we're in this scene because we see a shot of the nightclub that it's going to be held in called Purple. I couldn't work out where this is. It definitely wasn't in London, was it? It looked like
I think it was in London.
Really?
I've had a really good look around online. I thought it was part of the Sanderson Hotel for a while because they had a Purple bar, but I think it was a bar that was in like Chelsea.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was London because also all the taxis look like...
but they have black cabs in like Manchester.
Oh, that's true. Okay, here's the thing. Bearing in mind, Lisa has driven in that big Range, been driven that big Range Rover with the Sarah Mandys from her house in Windsor.
Oh, of course. So it must be in London. Must be in London. And when they've had enough time to drink a whole bottle of wine, but we'll get to that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we know we know we're at that birthday because we see Purple the nightclub, and then we see that Michelle's having a picture taken with Jessica from Liberty X, wearing a lovely yellow dress.
Lovely yellow dress.
She looks great. Jessica's. You know how we always talk about, you know, a member of the girl bands who have a very solid style that actually dates very well throughout the years. We're talking your Emma Buntons, your Kimberly Walshers from Girls Aloud. Jessica's very much that member of Liberty X. She doesn't have a lot of terrible looks. She never did anything daring like the rest of them, and it's really carried her through. She looked great in that yellow dress, I thought.
Now you've said that, and I've just
found
I've just found a picture of her where she had cornrows.
I mean, I can't see the problem.
Although, weirdly, I can imagine Kimberly Walsh back in the day maybe doing that as well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I remember Cheryl had a half head of cornrows, didn't she?
Oh, well, we'd
like a side
but we'd
cornrow.
expect that from Cheryl.
Yeah, of course.
100%. So Jessica's having her photo taken with Mich outside the club.
Yeah, and then they're ushered in by a woman wearing a see-through purple netting outfit. Did you see that quick moment? A woman wearing like a bra and pants with like a purple beach cover up over the top seems to be leading them into the club. I think she might be like the VIP concierge person, the host.
And they're ushered in, and as they're ushered in, the DJ announces them.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Jessica Taylor and birthday girl Michelle.
Yeah. That DJ voice. Next door. That's, you know, we see that's happening, and then basically Lisa and her cronies turn up. You know, Sarah Mandy in white and Lisa fall out of the car, and then clown Sarah Mandy drops something, and she squats down in that short clown dress to pick it up. And yeah, you can tell something's up. Something's
afoot.
Something's definitely afoot. And they find Tony outside.
They do. Tony's dressed up. He's wearing a white shirt. He's got like a sort of a khaki kind of blazer. You know, he's dressed up for the night. Our Tone.
Yeah, and then, so Lisa and the Sarah Mandys inexplicably are all holding hands while they talk to Tony.
Well, they need to hold each other's hands.
Yeah, because they say, oh, Dad, we had a bit of a nightmare on the way down. And I honestly thought she was going to start talking about traffic, and I was really ready for like, oh, great, another one of Lisa's classic stories. And she said, oh, Sarah Mandy, you know, she said, Sarah Mandy bought a bottle of wine, and we drank the whole thing. And they're all like, ugh. They all get very giggly, and they're kind of still keeping it quite PG. And then clown Sarah Mandy goes, to be honest with you, we're quite pissed. And she said, we're pissed as farts. And I was like, oh, clowny Sarah Mandy.
Pissed as farts.
Pissed as farts.
And they're all like holding each other's hands as they're in their like tiny, tiny skirts.
I was going to say, the wind started to blow those rah-rah skirts about, so they're all in a little bit of danger. And then basically they're kind of all talking over the top of each other. And then at one point, I think it's Tony that says, like, did you bring a present? Did he ask them that maybe?
No, I can't remember, but they all sort of have the moment where they're like, oh, Michelle's gift, the booby top.
Like, oh my God, she's like, how are we going to return that booby top to Lipsy? Definitely was from Lipsy or from like cricket in Liverpool.
I think it's from cricket. I think it's from Lisa understands Michelle. She's got her an expensive top
from cricket.
Yeah, it's like £150.
Yeah, and she's like, give it to her in the cricket bag so she knows that it's expensive.
She knows.
And then, do you know what they do at cricket? It's nice because they put it in that nice bag and they use that nice tissue paper.
And then you can reuse that bag. Actually, you can put some stuff in the bag. So they suddenly realize they've left Michelle's gift in the car, and then they just start like clip-clopping around the streets as if they're going to find the car.
Yeah, this is where the clowning really gets going. There's a lot of great physical comedy where they're kind of still all holding hands. They're all kind of just pulling each other in different directions, like the Three Stooges, trying to look for this car. I think one of them's trying to call the driver maybe, and then it's this point that Lisa decides to start complaining about why she's pissed, and she said, I've only had a fucking scone to eat.
Did she say fucking?
Yeah, she said fucking. It's the first time I've heard her say the F word because she's drunk. She goes, I've only had a fucking scone to eat so far today. And then...
Scone, yeah, scone. Translation scone, but scone.
Scone.
It's very much a scone.
And it's very important for this scene that we're pronouncing it scone.
Scone. Then one of the Sarah Mandys...
So, clown Sarah Mandy.
Is that clown Sarah Mandy?
It's very important.
Who turns out, side note, her name's Shireen.
I refuse to commit that to memory.
But it's a great name,
yeah.
Shireen.
Shireen. So clown Sarah Mandy says, you know, Lisa's talking to camera and she's going, I've only had a scone, I'm pissed, and they're all giggling. Clown Sarah Mandy makes the great gag, it's all the drink's gone to your head. And Lisa hears it, does not react to it, and neither does Sarah Mandy in white. Not really. And then Lisa does the classic like sitcom thing where she steals the joke and then literally says it straight after clown Sarah Mandy says it. She goes, listen, the drink's gone to my head. And then they're all like, it's like, wow, she really literally took Sarah Mandy's great joke and made it her own. And I was very impressed with clown Sarah Mandy at this point. But it was a great gag.
It got better and better.
Well, this is... So then what happened is Lisa and Sarah Mandy in white they were trying to kind of clatter on. But at this point, clown Sarah Mandy had got a taste for the limelight. So she says...
Lisa Scone.
Too far Scone.
Too far Scone.
Too Far Scone was really good.
Got me.
I clapped when she did that. Like, I applauded because I was very impressed with that.
Too far Scone.
Been to Scone. And I want some jam and cream.
Side note, so this is obviously one of Lisa's solo hits. I found a performance of her doing Too Far Gone in the original title of the song from like a Steps tour in 2012. But she does it as a mashup with Chris Brown's Beautiful People. And it's like, beautiful people, bum, 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 too far gone.
Oh, that's fun.
Blam, blam, but it's really good. And there's
Yeah.
another song she throws in there as well. I think it might be Heaven by Sammy.
Ooh, DJ Sammy.
DJ Sammy.
But are you talking the
Candlelight
DJ Sammy or the
remix?
Candlelight remix?
DJ Sammy's Candlelight remix. That must
remix.
That must be on your Poor Me playlist.
It's absolutely not.
Oh,
I hate
really?
it. It's too straight. It's too hetero.
Okay.
I mean, how many hetero weddings of a certain era had the Candlelight remix of DJ Sammy as their first dance?
Not one I've ever been to.
Anyway,
So,
anyway, that comedy trio then eventually stumble into Michelle's party.
in general, though, I think it's really nice that Lisa has this lovely group of friends. I know we've said it
do,
before,
yeah.
and I'm really glad she has fun with her friends.
Although I will say, so yeah, I don't know if it's some residual anger I had at Lisa for that earlier scene of her shouting at Andy on the phone, but there's something very like bitchy girl move to drink that much on the way to someone's birthday party and be kind of like
Make it about
the fact that you're like, oh, we're pissed and we've arrived, and it's like making a scene. Like, it's very and you can imagine them being really like bitching about Michelle in the car on the way up there and like drinking their wine and being all nasty, and then they arrived and then we're like, oh god, we accidentally drank a whole bottle of wine. Oh, I don't know, it really, maybe that's just the way it was edited to make it look bitchy, especially because they kept cutting to like, they cut to Michelle and she's inside dancing with like Nath having a good time. She's like, oh, where's Lisa? Looks really like nice and innocent. They cut to Lisa outside and she's all like,
I don't know if Michelle's looking innocent there.
No, I know.
Not with those brows.
Oh yeah, that's true. They're arched to villainous perfection, those brows, aren't they?
Yeah, I know what you mean. That there is something like about there's tension.
It's an aggressive move to turn up pissed.
There's tension between Lisa and Michelle,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like turning. So to combat that, she's drunk a bit too much, and it's like turning up. And I can imagine as soon as she saw Michelle, instead of saying happy birthday, she went, "I'm so drunk."
Yeah, precisely.
And made it about her.
Precisely. She'd be like, "Oh, hi, Sarah Mandy had your bottle of wine in the taxi, but so drunk." And it's like, well, you meant to say happy
Michelle's
birthday
like,
first.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. What you meant to do with that information. It's like you're not. It's like it excludes Michelle. It's not like, oh, we all got pissed together and had a good time. It's like, oh, haha, we're really drunk. It's like, great. Welcome to my birthday party. I don't know. I'm just so firmly Team Michelle in this episode that I'm just like, I can't see straight.
I also think, do you know what would have helped if they'd eaten something other than the problematic minstrels and the fresh strawberries? They should have just had a pizza.
Yeah.
An oven pizza.
Yeah, they should have hit that Goodfellas again.
Like,
or they should have just gone to like a drive-through on the way up. Mackie
that's
D's.
a good idea.
Just gone to Mackie D's and had some chicken nuggets.
Mackie D's and wine.
Yeah.
In the car. Oh, that sounds like great.
I would happily have McDonald's and wine together. That's a great combination.
So they finally get into the club and they see. Well, Lisa sees Michelle. Who knows how this was edited?
Yeah,
but
this was the editing was very nuanced in this scene, wasn't it?
She gives her a hug, and then there's a shot of her, and Lisa's kind of got a gritted smile on her face, doesn't she? And then there's another moment where Lisa is sort of with her Sarah Mandy's, and then she just sort of turns around and kind of gives like
looks
"Ooh."
directly down the camera and kind of goes, "Goo." Yeah. So and it seemed like, I don't know, a lot of those shots seemed like they were taken from about 5,000 different points of the evening. I don't know, I didn't trust that moment at all. It seemed heavily constructed. So
next scene,
very little scenelet, a call with Nathan. Lisa looks like she's in a hotel room wearing a very Hollister t-shirt.
And it crucially, it's 5. They've got 5 days to get a record deal. It says on screen.
So then, basically, Nathan says that they've run out of record companies. There's only one left, and unfortunately, it's the same record company as Andy. I didn't know why that was unfortunately.
I don't know either. It also helps here. It helps set up more kind of conflict and
I guess.
competition, but also it's so obvious that was going to happen. Like behind the scenes, the producers are like, well, can't they just do
they're like, well,
record?
we're already filming Andy's scenes at Concept. We might as well do it. Yeah,
and it's also like, and Andy's getting like publicity from doing this show, so why don't you just do a double whammy?
Yeah, this was all a little forced, wasn't it?
But I do love the moment where Nathan says to Lisa, so Max is the boss. Well, not the real boss, but he is one of the bosses at
Concept
Records. And Nath says, so obviously I've lied to Max. And then Lisa's like, what have you lied about? And Nath says, well, I've lied to Max and I said there are other labels interested. And then Lisa's like, oh yeah,
she's
of course.
like, oh yeah, of course, that's the kind of lie we tell everyone. Yeah, she's like, I'm always lying about people being interested in my career, of course.
Get a better deal.
Yeah.
But essentially, they need to go, in order to get this record deal, they need to go to the record company with a single and say,
oh, this single, honestly, I know it's the way it's kind of put together, but it just to me, it doesn't seem like it's that hard to get a song. I don't know, maybe I'm being naive.
Well, and also, do they make the right decision? Because I have an alt path of...
Well, let's wait till we get to that.
Okay.
Terrifying, like Brady Bunch film style phone call later on.
Okay, next up is a very little scenelet. What have you called this?
I called it Recording Perfect.
Oh, I said
name
Lisa
of the song.
Recording. No, I think it's called Rescue.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the song's called Rescue. So Lisa's in the recording studio and she's singing like a very bland guitar ballad.
Yeah.
And
I didn't mind it. I thought it sounded nice. It sounded like a B-side. Oh, you're proposing that it should be a double A-side, aren't you?
Why? We'll get to it. Get to it.
I don't disagree with you actually.
But again, this is a scene where Lisa can totally sing.
Yeah, completely fine.
She is a solid stage school singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wrote, does she have a cabbage on her head again? Because that guy was saying that she gets that note again to be like, no, just kind of go for it. Like you're being maybe a little too controlled.
Okay, now the next two scenes, I've split them up because we need to we need to deal with this. First up, what have you called this next
I just said
scene?
over at Concept Records.
Meanwhile, over at Concept Records. I've called it Concept Record Execs.
Yeah. So we have Max in this scene, and yet again, the woman who I am insisting is called Nicola, but yet has not once been named so far in this show.
Nope.
I swear to God, she had a much bigger role in my imagination, and she's called Nicola. We're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm still certain she's called Nicola. So Max and Nicola are in Max's office, and they're basically sitting, listening to kind of what options have come through for Lisa's single.
Now, so they're listening to a rocky mid-tempo ballad. I think this is Never or Now that they're listening to.
Never or Now, that title.
And they say...
It's now or never.
Now or never.
Backwards. Never
oh
or
my
now.
God, what's she like?
That's what Lisa does. She takes concepts and flips them on her head.
Like lyrical genius. Now, they're listening to it, and Max says, it's very similar to Joey's record.
Yeah, I
was like, who's Joey? Initially, I thought he was saying Jerry, which made me very excited. But Jerry doesn't have a song that sounds like this.
She never had a rocky sound.
No.
Scream If You Want to Go Faster was maybe the closest thing to rock that Jerry did.
There's definitely a guitar in there somewhere.
Certainly wasn't Bag It Up. Treat him like a lady. I saw your mouth going to form. Treat him like a lady.
Who's wearing the trousers now? Also in this scene, Max is sitting at his desk, and it looks like there's a pint of Coke on his desk. There's like a pint glass of a very dark liquid. It must be Coke.
Diet Coke.
Do you think Diet Coke?
I think a pint of Diet Coke.
Pint of warm Diet Coke.
So, this is another great exchange. Nicholas says, well, it's all about what she can carry off. And Max says, well, she can carry that off because it is her singing. As if to imply that she can't like mime along to a song that doesn't sound like her singing. I think that's what Nicola was trying to get at.
Well, I think Nicola's saying, because this is a bit more like a mid-tempo rockier ballad?
Yeah.
Like, can she pull off that vibe?
We're using the term rockier very, very loosely here.
We mean that there's an instrument in it that is a real instrument. That's all we're saying.
Someone's twanged a guitar at some point in the process.
Exactly. But I understand what Nicola's saying.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, this sounds like, I don't know, the phrase adult contemporary comes into my head.
Yeah, it's strange. It seems like a song that would be like buried on a pop star's album, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Buried deep in the track listing, like track 10 of 12. So then he pops on Electric. I think we've kind of touched upon this before. I don't like this song.
No, but I think he has a very good point here. As soon as they put it on, it's like, touch me, I'm electric. And it's like, oh, okay, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
This song instantly gets you. The name of the song is said near the beginning. And I think Nicola here says, well, this is instant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she's right.
Well, and just, she's not in the position, it's not like, you know, Girls Aloud's career where she's in the position where she can release, you know, I'll Stand By You and actually have it be a success. Like, you can't just come out with a mid-tempo ballad when you're trying to like claw your way back.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make sense.
And cause like a scene with a mid-tempo adult contemporary rocky ballad.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
This also for me was a moment where record exec Nicola, really, she's the one in charge here.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, she's very much pulling all of the strings.
She's no nonsense.
Yeah, I love her.
She's fantastic.
So basically, you know, they're talking about the fact that Electric is the better choice, and Max kind of says like, well, I guess, you know, I think maybe they had, you know, Lisa had other ideas about which song she wanted to do, but this is the one that we should go with. And this is when Nicholas slams Lisa so hard. She says, you know, yeah, she might have a bit of a moan, but, you know, what's new?
And then she ends it with, you know what I mean?
100% agree with Nicola, because all we've seen Lisa do really so far in Totally Scott Lee is moan.
Also, it sounds like throughout this next scene, we enter what I call a bumper scene, which I'm referring to as the maze of phone calls.
Yes, very much.
And it did definitely make me realize that this show in general involves so many phone calls. And also, I think this is before the time where loudspeaker was a thing. Because, you know, like the last, I don't know, maybe 8 years on any reality show, particularly the Kardashians, if they do a phone call, they just put it on loudspeaker. This, maybe they just weren't so good in those Sony Ericssons that Helena Christensen was like, you know, selling.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was, because especially it does make you think that this is, oh my God, this might be a bit too boring, but it makes you realize how much they were filming both sides of the conversation, because you can hear the audio from, do you know what I mean? Like, you can...
So if we were both filmed in separate locations, but we're on the phone, when they're physically filming you, you can hear me on the phone, but it's not loudspeaker, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, the galloping horses. Let's enter the maze of phone calls.
Okay.
So first of all, Max from the record company calls Nath to say that they've picked Electric.
And Nathan appears to be in like a mock Tudor... a mock Tudor hotel
function suite. I don't know what's going on. Nath says Lisa now favors Never or Now in terms of the song.
That song title
bearing in mind,
it's so bad.
Bearing in mind, you know what's so great about it is that when they came up with it, they must have been so pleased.
Oh, of course.
Do you know what? We'll call it Never or Now.
And I bet it's because she said them. You know, it's just like, I'm at this point in my career. It's like now or never. Yeah. Or maybe she messed it up and she's like, I'm at this point in my career and it's just never or now. And they all went, oh,
that's good. Let's keep it.
Write it. Never or now.
Wait, what color pen is she gonna write it? Black pen, blue pen.
Gotta be black pen.
Gotta be black pen. Shit.
She's got a funny thing about it.
She's got a funny thing about it. Never or Now. So Max is saying to Nathan, we want to do Electric. Nathan's saying, thinks she prefers Never or Now, but look, let me go call Lisa.
Yeah.
Okay, maze of phone calls continues. We're going to take a left turn here in the maze. Nathan then calls Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa is in a car. It appears in the background she's driving past Buckingham Palace.
Yes. She's also wearing a very bizarre dress that in close-up looked like a corset top, and then when they zoomed out, it was like a very strange, like, billowy dress that was like, well, actually, I guess we learned from Walter Mercado last week that she's not in her sexy mode. She's in her errands mode. She's wearing one of her, like, business errand dresses.
Got it. She's doing her errands in that taxi beside Buckingham Palace.
Yes.
Got it. So Nathan is speaking to Lisa and saying they want to go with Electric. Well, actually, I think Nathan, as a manager, does a very good job here.
Yeah.
He calls her and says, okay, Lisa, good news.
Yeah.
We've got a record deal. They're going to do it, so that's good news. Great. Lead with the positive. They want to go with Electric. And Lisa's like, oh, I just don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And then Nathan says, look, why don't you give Max a ring to discuss it?
Directly.
Okay. Good choice. Okay, so now Lisa calls Max at the record company. Okay, we got it. We've now taken a right turn in the maze of phone calls. Lisa calls Max, and when Max picks up the phone, he says, Lise, hi, darling. Lise.
We also get to hear her say, like, hi, can I speak to Max? It's Lisa Scott Lee. And then I was like, oh, what a fun phone call to take. You'd put it down and go, ooh, Lisa Scott Lee just called the company. I spoke to her.
So Max picks up the phone. Lise, hi, darling. So then Lisa is saying that she prefers Never or Now because it's more melodic.
They also both have a really forced conversation where they have to get the formalities of being like, oh, thanks for signing me. Like, oh, this is exciting out the way. But they're both clearly not. So he's like, oh, she's like, oh yeah, great news about the signing. He's like, yeah, really happy to have you. Thanks for, I'm just really happy to be there.
This reminds
really insipid conversation.
This reminds me of so many work calls.
Yeah.
Where you're like dealing with an agent or you're calling talent about something.
Yes.
So Lisa's saying to Max, she would prefer to go with Never or Now. But Max thinks Electric grabs you instantly, and he's right.
Yep.
And then Lisa says, okay, but will I get into the top 10? And Max says he can't guarantee that. And this is the point, I've just written my notes. Why don't they just release a double A side?
Yeah.
Release both songs.
Yeah. And then she can perform, they can do it so that Electric is the main song, and then just keep her happy by letting her sing Never, Now or Never on a couple of shows.
Yeah, and also when she goes on like This Morning, they would probably want her to perform both songs anyway. You know what I mean? They've got time to
I'm
fill.
just thinking about, all the iconic, well, it's like the GMTV or Good Morning Britain, whatever it's called now, all the iconic performances over the years on Lorraine, on those tiny little studios of like pop stars trying to do really high energy songs at like 7:45 in the morning.
And like swooping camera work.
Yeah, swooping camera work and like two backing dancers. The most iconic, if anyone ever wants to look, is Kimberly Walsh performing a song with Agro Santos on Lorraine. And I encourage everyone just to Google that performance. It's quite something.
So they have this discussion, and Lisa says they don't come to a conclusion. But Lisa says to Max, "Okay, well, let's continue this conversation. Yeah, let's just keep it. Let's keep this conversation going. Yeah,
like there's nothing to continue, but okay."
So then Lisa calls Nath, and they are talking about it. Meanwhile, Max in the Concept Records office goes to find Nicola.
Oh yeah, this is real like. He forgot himself in this scene, didn't he? He forgot he was being filmed a little bit because that's exactly how, especially we would have done at work. When you're dealing with someone difficult, you're like, I'm gonna go and tell my friend at work about like how annoying that person was being on the phone. And he's like, Nicola. He's like, I've just got off the phone with her. She's not happy. She wants to release Never or Now. You were right.
That also reminds me of that classic thing at work where you'd come off the phone from that difficult situation, you put the phone down, and people are like, we need to talk about it, and you'd quickly just check.
Oh yeah, check that she's still not there.
Just check that the call's been hung up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do not want to get caught bitching on an open line about Lisa Scott Lee.
So
he scuttles over to Nicola's desk, doesn't he?
And again, this is a real moment where in my mind, he's going to Nicola for help.
Yeah, completely.
Actually. And Nicola's just sitting there very nonchalant, and they're talking about it. And Nicola says, well, Lisa either wants the record to come out or she doesn't. And it's kind of like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Nathan is speaking to Lisa, and Nathan quite rightly says, well, the record company putting the money up, so
kind of have to do what they want.
They kind of... And also, I don't want to get into the whole thing of like, artists' rights and don't tell a woman what to do or anything, which is obviously incredibly important. But Lisa, like clearly a month ago, trotted into the office with the song Electric and said, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And she's recorded the song. They're not forcing something on her.
Well, and also, as she keeps pointing out, they have, like an hour left to release the song or whatever it is, whatever insane time pressure they're under. It's like, just, it's Never or Now, Lisa. That's how they came up with it.
Mm-hmm. Nicola also says here that artists don't always know what's actually best for them.
Do you know what I love about Nicola? I love her in all of these scenes. She's always just got like a really big chunky pair of shades pushing her hair back at the top of her head, isn't she?
Her vibe is, do you know what her vibe is? Is Kelly Catrone.
Yes, it's very no-nonsense Kelly Catrone.
Like a British English Kelly Catrone.
Yes, 100%.
Including like her look, the all dressed in black.
Yep.
So all this is going on, and then meanwhile Lisa and Nath are talking again in the maze of phone calls. And Lisa says, so because Max has just said, we've kind of got to make this decision today if we want to do this. And Lisa says to Nathan, it's crazy this. It's absolutely crazy. I've never known anything like it. I'm like, it's not that crazy.
Yeah, and also, I think you have known a lot like it. I'm sure there was many conversations when you were in Steps about songs and releasing and all kinds of things.
Yeah. So
I'd argue that you know that's all you've ever known.
Lisa then gets to the center of the maze of phone calls, and she calls Max again.
What does she find in the center? Well, you normally find a statue in the middle of a maze.
So she finds a statue of Nicola with her arms crossed, just saying,
sunglasses pushed up on her head.
Yeah, just giving that look.
Yeah, and on the plaque it says, "Your single is electric."
Yes, exactly. This is literally written in stone. So Lisa calls Max again. Now Max here, he's been kind of emboldened from his chat with Nicola because he says that the decision needs to be made today, otherwise they won't get it into store.
Oh yeah, I loved that.
So
physically into a store.
They physically won't get the CD singles printed up and delivered to Woolworths and our price. Yeah. So Max says quite firmly, so because of that, we're going to go with electric. And Lisa said, okay, thanks for that, bye. And then she calls.
Oh God, this is the saddest call of all, isn't it?
You tell me, who's she calling?
She calls up Johnny, and he's on a cross trainer in the gym.
Yeah, on that elliptical.
Oh, they call it an elliptical here, don't they?
Do they call it a
cross trainer? Yeah.
Oh, okay. God, I've been here too long. What am I like?
I don't know. It's a sidewalk or it's the pavement.
I'm going to be saying tomato next. We don't know which one's which.
I mean, that's literally what our whole podcast we based it on. So let's
not
rip apart our own concept.
Let's not mock
anyway,
okay.
So she gives Johnny a call. He's on the cross trainer elliptical, and he's like, "Oh, hi, babe." And she's like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I can't really talk. I'm actually in the gym at the moment." And she goes, "Yeah, but can you stop for a second? Because this is really important." And he says, "Yes." And he just carries on. He's like, oh, she won't hear the wearing of the cross trainer in the background. Doing his lackluster cross trainer really doesn't. That's not doing much, is it?
Also, I'm always fascinated by people who work out. Maybe this is a very gay thing, but when I work out, I wear shorts and a vest top because I get hot and I sweat. He's wearing he's indoors and wearing like a full-on tracksuit that looks very heavy and sweaty.
Straight people, they don't make any sense.
I don't know.
So yeah, he refuses to stop using the cross trainer, and then she just kind of says, "Oh, the record company wants to go with electric." I mean, he couldn't give two shits at this point, could he?
Lisa's looking for her husband's opinion and support.
Yeah,
and he basically says something very nothingy like, "Oh, well, that song's the song you're going to release, and you'll sing it, and it'll go somewhere in the charts."
You really look like you were having fun up there.
Yeah,
essentially is what he says to her, doesn't he? Yeah, he couldn't give two fucks. He's got to finish that cross training so he can scoot around chug around the stage on a track. Is there a track in it?
He's going to get off that cross trainer, strap on those roller skates, and get to I don't know, wherever he is on tour. Maybe he's in Liverpool now, like the Liverpool Regency Theatre, whatever. I don't know, the matinee. She's kind of like, okay, fine, yeah, okay. And he does say, it is a good song. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of it.
Yeah. This one really ends with a whimper, doesn't it?
Yeah. Meanwhile, we get a shot of Next Time.
Yes.
And Totally Scotty. What we got going on?
Well, the main character of next episode is Cafe Nero. Well, Lisa and Andy finally have their face-to-face confrontation about Andy's engagement and how it's hurt Lisa's feelings. Great.
And they're sitting outside a Cafe Nero. Which, now, you think you know which Cafe Nero is?
I think it's the Cafe Nero at the end of Charlotte Street, so just not too far from the Charlotte Street Hotel.
Now, is that a good Cafe Nero?
It's a great one. It's a really good one. You can sit outside. It's got a couple of tables outside.
That's a good one. I wonder if also when they're at Cafe Nero, they got the stamps.
Oh yeah, well I can imagine Lisa's. I feel like she's thrifty enough to have a few rewards cards and all that kind of stuff, isn't she?
I wonder if those still exist, those Cafe Nero stamps, or maybe they've gone digital.
Probably.
It's probably an app.
It's an app.
Yeah. Okay. Also coming up in next week's episode, we see Andy and Johnny just talking about showbiz while they're playing footy.
We're just having a kickabout.
Just a kickabout.
Because playing footy would imply a match, whereas a kickabout is just a kickabout.
You've got to keep me right with these sports. Thank you.
Well, you know how. You know me, I do play football.
You do play football.
I've done it. I've done some faggy football here and there.
Faggy football. Okay, so we also see Lisa in a recording studio very tired. Now, I think previously she's just recorded demos of all the songs, so I think she's recording the proper version of Electric.
Okay.
You accepting that?
Yeah, Yes, I'm accepting it. Just.
Okay, cool, good, approved.
And she's also recording the video because there's a little shot of her with Tony being like, "We've made the single, we've made the video, it's time to go," or something strange like that.
She seems quite excited.
Yeah,
like
again.
do you know what? She's doing what she loves. She's
We
a
haven't seen
performer.
her. We haven't seen her that happy since the computer in the shopping centre.
Oh, she loved that. Loved that. At the end of this episode, episode 4, we need to work out what we're calling this episode. Totally what?
So I think Clown Sarah Mandy just gave it to us. I think this episode is just called Totally Scone.
Fuck. That's really good. I thought I was going to win because I was going to say totally not OK Magazine.
Oh, that's great. No, I think we can give you your first win for that one.
Oh, can we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I'm
cool.
literally just stealing Sarah Mandy's joke.
That's true. Right, actually, I'm a wordsmith and I really played around with it. Okay, let's wrap this up. As ever, thank you for listening. You got another episode of Totally Scott Lee next week.
Yeah, episode
You'll have
5.
Another episode of You're Welcome America next week as well.
What a treat.
It's all go. That'll be our Halloween special.
Oh my god.
Shit,
Oh god.
such a fright.
I got a real fright.
Get in touch on Instagram. You're Welcome America. Get in touch on Twitter. Let's push past those 33 listeners. You're Welcome USA. Watch along on YouTube. You're totally welcome.
Yeah, should we go and have a scone?
I've got to be honest, I think that a lot of the time they don't seem to like you.
There's a lot of hard work and it's blood, sweat and tears. I don't know, if I suddenly get a guitar out, is it believable?
23.
Well, that's really shit.